Awesome. So again, if you are just joining us, we'd love for you to include your name, your role, and your organization in chat. Today's event is titled eLearning System Challenge, Comparing and Contrasting System Capabilities. We have 3 wonderful presenters that are joining us today. Each one will be covering a different piece of software. If you are interested in learning more about ATD Nebraska's membership options, take a look at the information on screen at this time. And just a teaser, we want to give you a heads up that those options will be changing starting January 1st. So the information about that new structure isn't yet ready to be shared with you, but do watch for changes coming soon. Make sure you if you are a member, make sure that you make great use of the many membership benefits that are available to you. There are quite a few offerings, and especially if you're newer to the organization, you might not realize all the great things that are available to you. We have another upcoming event. It'll be held on Thursday night, September 24th, and Michael Merritt, who's one of our 3 presenters today, will be hosting it. And it is a great opportunity for you to just drop in and connect and discuss with one another. It's just a wonderful way for you to connect with others in the learning and development profession. Finally, we have some additional upcoming events. The Fall Professional Development Series, you may have heard about that already through emails coming from ATD Nebraska, so make sure you check your emails for that. Those sessions, there are 3 different topics, and then each topic will have 2 dates of events that are held for it. So we hope you'll be joining that soon. So here we are coming up at the top of the hour. I'm going to see here if we have any other folks joining us? All right. We're sitting at about 15, and I think we have up closer to higher 20s or near 30 joining us today. So we'll get started here in just a moment. Welcome to Cheri and Laura and Amy, Christy, Patty, Sandy, Kate, Sunny, Roxana, thank you all so much for introducing yourselves. That's very wonderful. All right, so we are at the top of the hour. This session is being recorded, so you are welcome to access this recording later. It will be shared with participants, a link via email, and it'll also be available at the ATD Nebraska website. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to switch presentations and get started with our introduction since we want to get started right on time. So are you guys seeing the title slide okay? With your photos on it? All right, so today, this is the eLearning System Challenge, Comparing and Contrasting System Capabilities. Each of our 3 presenters, which we'll give some more information about in a moment, will be focusing on a different e-learning platform. And special happy birthday to Michael Merritt, one of our presenters today. So today they're going to be focusing on 3 different features offered within each of these 3 different platforms. So we'll be discussing how to capture video and audio and images. We'll talk about hotspots and finally quizzing. And now I'm ready to introduce you to Cheri Hilderbrand, the first of our presenters. So Cheri is an instructional designer and staff trainer for Boys Town Human Resources in the Organizational Learning and Development Department. She's worked at Boys Town for nearly 9 years. Cheri is an experienced and dedicated education leader. Throughout her career, she has focused on the development of meaningful, relevant learning programs using sound design methods for higher education, K-12, and adult education programs. Previous to Boys Town, Cheri designed for Lesley University of Cambridge, Massachusetts, and the University of Phoenix for instructor-led blended and full online courses. She's held positions in marketing and product management, helping drive branding and design campaigns for companies like Davidson Consulting, Captaris Rightflax, Braille Optics Research Organization, and Tandy Corporation. Along with her Adobe Captivate certification, Cheri's education background is guided by business and education. She also holds a Master of Science degree in business administration and marketing from the University of Phoenix in Tucson, Arizona, and 2 bachelor's degrees, one in business administration and one in arts for secondary education. Cheri lives in Omaha, and in her spare time, she enjoys boating, biking, and reading. Next up, we have Lauren Kennedy, and Lauren is going to be talking with us about Camtasia. Lauren is a learning experience designer for medical solutions, and her passion is educating and coaching others to be their absolute best. Her role includes facilitating new hire orientation and designing engaging webinars, courses, and videos. When she started at Medical Solutions, she quickly learned InDesign and Camtasia, and she's very proud to say she's learned Captivate too. Next up, the third of our presenters is Michael Merritt, who will be discussing Articulate storyline functionality. Michael's workplace learning and performance experience started over 23 years ago. With a background in classroom educational technologies, multimedia, video, and e-learning, Michael gained a reputation as a sought-after resource in the workplace learning and performance community. Michael won a number of awards and was selected as a 2012 Young Trainer to Watch by Training Magazine. He brings those skills to HDR's e-learning team, not only to develop HDR's talented staff, but to serve as a resource to develop their clients too. Michael has enjoyed learning the vast array of services offered by HDR, working on projects for clients including NASA. Michael worked in the healthcare field, the financial services field, and has worked in the architecture engineering field for over 10 years. Michael is also a past president for ATD Nebraska. At this time, we want to encourage you to set up your screen here in Zoom for the best viewability of today's presentation. So at the top, or wherever your Zoom toolbar is, make sure you wiggle your mouse, find the toolbar, and click View Options. And then you want to make sure and scroll down and click and choose Side-by-Side mode. That will make sure that you can see the demos on one side and our presenters on the other. So View Options, and then Side-by-Side. And then as we go through today, because we have 3 different software components we're going to be mentioning, make sure that you submit your questions in chat. It'll be really helpful if you can also include in that request which piece of software you're specifically inquiring about, since we have 3 different options. So then we'll go back as part of our Q&A and we'll offer those at the end. So with that said, I'm going to stop my screen share and we are going to turn this over to Miss Cheri Hilderbrand, who's going to be talking to us about Adobe Captivate. Welcome, Cheri, and thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to, oops. Okay, can you see my screen?
Looks great, thank you.
Perfect. Okay, so I first want to start by saying thank you to Angie. Angie, thank you for getting us ready for today. Roxana Mullenberg from Boys Town, Sunny Wiltz, and Patty Carr for inviting all 3 of us to attend today. I also want to thank everyone for spending their time over their lunch hour for this presentation. And of course, we're talking about e-learning management systems, and I am going to...
Cheri, you know what? I forgot to launch the poll. Do you mind if I interrupt you just momentarily? I am so sorry. I got so excited to hear what you said. Folks, I'm sorry about that. Let me just real quickly, I launched a poll on screen. If you could please take just a quick moment, it should pop up over top of everything. Rate your familiarity with these different learning platforms. So I'm going to launch the polling. Go ahead and interact with it. How familiar are you with Captivate, Camtasia, and Storyline? And Cheri, I apologize, but that way we'll give you presenters an idea of our audience and their level of interactivity with this. So I see 12 folks have voted, 13. Give you about another 5 seconds or so. Awesome. Thank you, everyone. All right, so here are the results. It looks like for Adobe Captivate, a majority of folks are in the novice category and an equal balance with the other options. As far as Camtasia goes, again, most folks would rate themselves as a novice. And then finally, for our Articulate Storyline, a majority are also novices. So we have a great audience. You guys are going to be thrilled with the information you're going to be sharing. So Cheri, thank you. I'm sorry to have interrupted. Bless your heart. You are ready to rock and roll. And now I'm really going to mute myself. Thanks so much, everyone.
No worries. Okay, so I'm going to share. So today, and thank you to everyone, and I should probably remove my Outlook so that doesn't pop up again. Oops. Thanks, Kathy. I think I'm out of email. Sorry about that. Okay, so basically, I want to talk to you today, and thank you again for having us. But I want to talk to you about capturing application software simulation. This is a comparison kind of between our software programs, and there's several things that Captivate have weaknesses on and strengths. And one of the strengths is the application software simulation. We also have virtual reality and some other overlays. So I'm going to just get out and show you when you come into, since we're all novices, when you come into Adobe Captivate for the very first time, you're going to see all of these wonderful things you can do. And in 2019, when Captivate came out with their 2019 version, which happened, I think, on October of 2018, Responsive Project was one of the things that they did, which allows you to respond and create your projects to respond to whether it's an iPad or an iPhone or a laptop. So that's what it means by responsive, no matter what the user opens it with. They also did virtual reality projects, which I'm going to show you a little bit about today. Software simulation, which again is one of the favorites that I'm going to demo, and then video demo. PowerPoint, even though we work with PowerPoint, it wasn't built on PowerPoint like Articulate, and Michael can talk to that earlier. It's really one of the, we can bring in PowerPoints, but it's a weakness for Captivate. A couple of the strengths are obviously the Adobe Connect or the Adobe Cloud products. It will utilize all of those very readily. It's the one thing I will say about Captivate, it's for the higher, more experienced learner. If you're a new novice learner, you're going to be more apt to go with either Articulate 360 or Camtasia that Lauren will talk about. And the reason why is there's more scripting involved here. You can actually do JavaScript, programming, coding. There's variables, objects, those kind of things that are involved in here. It's not that you can't learn it. I learned it as a novice, but it's not probably the best software to choose that. I'm going to start the simulation because we all have just limited time to show you. So I'm going to go here to software simulation and go to create. And when I hit create on capture, again, this is my capture piece, you're going to see a red bar show up for the software. And it's going to allow me to do a screen area or an application, and you can capture it, and you can have either the user, like you can show the user that you're actually going to walk them through it, or you can change some of the dynamics so it makes the user actually do that. I'll talk about that in a minute. Panning will allow you to do that. Panning is where it follows your mouse. In a layman's term, it will pan for you. I'm going to leave it on demo. I'm going to leave it on automatic, and I'm going to actually do a software program that we use here at Boys Town. It's called RedCap. So I'm going to drop down this box. I'm going to hit RedCap, and when I hit that drop down box, you'll notice the red line went all the way around the software program. So I'm actually capturing the software. I'm going to hit it record, and you're going to see what happens. It'll count down, and I'm going to start. Let's say today I'm going to talk about RedCap, and I want to show people at Boys Town how to use the RedCap software. I'm going to log in. And just like I would in normal login.
I think your caps lock key was on, Cheri.
Thank you very much. Oops. Let's see if we can get it this time. Maybe my cap lock key needs to be on. Okay. There, you entered an invalid username. Well. Try this one more time. There we go. Normally I get in right away. Okay, so let's say that I have created all these wonderful surveys at Boys Town, but I want to teach people how to copy it. I would click on a survey that has the questions already installed in it. I want to teach my team how to copy that. I wouldn't, right now I'm not going to go through the whole functionality, but I would go to other functionality. I would drop out here to copy the project. it would copy the project. And from there on in, right now I'm going to just stop this because I'm demoing so that you can see it. It will take a minute to, you'll see the bar come across the screen very quickly. It just flashed, so I know that it's actually working in Captivate. Captivate will come up, and on the sidebar you're going to see every single thing. Oops. Sorry about that. Every single thing, can you see that on the side of the screen? All of these wonderful pieces that it captured. It captured my mouse movement. It will capture my recording. When you work in Captivate, you're going to actually use HTML to browse the software. So when I go to demo this, I'm going to actually start it down where I didn't make some mistakes. Let's click to about here. I'm going to preview it from this slide. When it opens up, it's going to record. It's going to show me what I recorded. Maybe my cap lock key needs to be on. Okay, there, you entered an invalid username. Well, let's try this one more time. There we go. Normally I get it. I think you get the idea. So it will actually capture every move and every piece of video or audio that you create. And that gives the designer the option to actually go back and clean up. I can clean up exactly what I did, and I can start it where I actually had the great place of logging in. So it gives you a lot of flexibility, but it's that easy. The other thing I want to show you really quick is if I come into File, there's New Project up here on the left. So this is where you can do responsive, virtual reality, those kind. But recording a new, I just did a software simulation. There's also, you can record video simulations. So when you do that, you can record off of YouTube or different kinds of videos that you bring in. If you record your own videos, which we do at Boys Town, we can drop those in, and there's definitely that kind of functionality. I'm going to actually go out and browse, and I'm going to open up a couple of other files here. Okay. Just so that I have them available. So basically with RedCap, you did see that the panning, all of that occurs. The other thing that you can do once you design and you learn how to be a good designer, you can actually, you noticed me typing in the information, but you can actually change it where you can have the clicks, the sound behind it, and you can have the user actually do that just in a regular simulation. You can train them how to do that, so that they're entering the information all the way through and they learn that way as well. So that is Capture. Capture's very easy. It's very clean. It's one of the best things about Captivate, I think. The other one is virtual reality. I'm going to jump to that very quickly. Virtual reality, let's say I actually pulled this up, but I'm going to show you what it's like to do a new project. I can go out here to New Project, Virtual Reality Project, and one of the good things about Captivate is they have a diverse asset library where you can come out here to Assets. It's up in the upper right-hand corner, and I click on this. It's going to open up 360 assets. And by the way, if you haven't worked in 360 before, there's two cameras that I recommend, the Insta360 ONE, that's O-N-E, the Insta360 or the 360 Nano S. Both of those cameras work really well with Captivate. You can do things with your own company, film those, and then bring them in. Until you do that and you learn, you have all of these assets available to you. So I would come down here to the 360 assets. I would go like on this one, let's say we're going to work in the Boys Town garage. I just hit the asset and I bring it in. It's that simple. The software is really easy to use unless you need to code. When you get into virtual reality, you'll notice that it's wherever you ended up or developed your video. I'm going to turn it to what I need, and I'm also going to move it over here because I've already created some things to make it faster today. But a couple of things, I've done capture, so you can capture YouTube videos, you can capture your own videos, and you can capture software simulation. Now on quizzing, you can work with quizzing through virtual reality, which I'm going to show you through a hotspot, because we're talking about hotspots as well. So up here in the software, there is a place called Hotspots. You can design your own hotspots. These pixels go 32 by 32 pixels. We develop ours for 32 by 32, and we double that, 72 by 72. So you can bring in your own graphics for hotspots. You don't have to use the system graphics. But you'll notice we have questions. I have some things that I've already put in here. I'm going to enter one. I'm going to go hotspots. I'm going to add a question mark. It's going to populate for me. And I'm going to bring it over here to the steering wheel if everybody can see that. I'm going to actually enlarge it because I want you to know that this is the one that I'm working with. I'm going to go over to properties, and I'm going to show you two things. On the properties, on the click, you can actually put music in, which I've done with a couple of other hotspots. You can display text, but we're not doing any of this today. We're actually showing you quizzing. So I'm going to come out of here and I'm going to add a question. So if I come here, I got multiple choice and true false. We'll just pick a true false question for now. I also want to talk about graded. There's graded questions, which are quizzes that can be entered in the system. And that's another thing that Captivate's really super good at, is some of the scoring and the information that you can get off of assessments. But they'll always default to 10 points. So when you're grading, you'll decide as a designer what you want to put point-wise. You might want to change that to 1 or 2 points per question. I've changed it to 1. There is also a KC slide, which is a knowledge check slide, which isn't graded. It's just checking your users throughout, so you can do that as well. But I'm going to grade this slide. I'm going to hit OK. It's going to create the question in the background. I just want to show you how easy this is to do in virtual reality. I'm going to type the question. Let's say, maybe it's going to take me a minute. Before loaning this vehicle, staff, you should like verify the, oops, if I spell it right, verify, and it comes up. It's nice, has a spell checker. Verify the gas and oil, let's say levels. So I'm going to put a period. That's a true answer, so I'm going to say that, and I'm going to click outside of it because that's what we call an overlay slide. We have state slides. There's so much to this program we can't show you today, but we're in here. I've got that question here. We know what the answer is. I'm going to go preview these, and when I preview, I'm not going to do it on a live device today, but I will do from this slide. And when I preview it, it's going to come up as a highlight, like when you see how it kind of tells you what you can look at. I also have a couple up here. So like I said, there's text. Be sure to turn off the dome light. This is the Boys Town Garage. We might want to teach them certain things they need to do. This is the question I just asked. And it is in virtual reality, so you notice that it actually changes based on that. Before loaning this vehicle to staff, you should verify the gas levels. Yes, that's true. I hit submit. It says correct. It'll give me feedback. I could have changed that as well. And you'll notice the check mark actually comes up when you do that. So like I said, you can put video in. You can do other questions. What is the radio station playing? Maybe this is not true, but if maybe, let's say at Boys Town, we wanted all of it to be set, every single radio station to be set to classical music before we loaned out our player, we might be wanting to test on that, and just different things that you can test in the virtual reality world. And we also can do this in the hospital, like in a surgical room, or we can do it in a family home program here to teach about safety. We're talking about maybe doing some virtual reality and using safety questions for that as well. So the last thing, I'm going to just, whoops. The last thing I want to talk about is, I'm not sure how I'm doing on time there, but interactive video. So on the timeline in interactive video, I have a video in here, and I just wanted to show this because Lauren's going to show you how to insert this, and it's very similar to Camtasia. Again, I think Camtasia and Articulate, I'd like them to talk about this, but I think it's more for beginner to intermediate users, and Captivate is a little bit more for the higher end for coding and different things you can do. But like you see the multiple choice questions, you'll see the true and false. The other thing is we have a big, huge library, the asset library of interactions that you can do within Captivate. So this is going to take just a minute to show you, but these are already embedded in here. So if I go back to the video and I look at my timeline, you'll see these little boxes that Lauren's going to talk about in a minute, and I've already put them in here so that you can see kind of what they do. But it's cool because down when you use a video, you can teach as you're going through the video, and when you're done, if they didn't get all the answers correct, you can have them watch the video again. So it's very similar to SCORM, but it's more interactive than SCORM. So let me just play this, and then I will answer questions about maybe some strengths and weaknesses afterwards. But this is, and oh, the other thing is you want to play it in each HTML browser or from this slide. So I'm going to just do HTML browser. Otherwise, you wouldn't get the full effect of the interaction.
In addition to control methods that can help reduce our risk of work-related MSDs, there is something you can do outside of work to help reduce your risk of MSDs and increase your overall health and well-being. It's exercise. We all know exercise is good for us and helps us lose weight, but most of us probably don't realize just how many benefits exercise actually brings. Exercise is good for your muscles and bones, can reduce pain, and can reduce your risk of chronic disease. It also supports skin health, helps with relaxation and sleep quality, fosters brain health and memory, and increases your energy levels. What did you just learn about the benefits of exercise? Select all that apply.
So the great thing is you can actually have them go back and listen again, or you can have them correct, check the correct answers, and then it will automatically move into, let's see if I get the answers correct. Yep. And so press anywhere to continue.
You have numerous options for exercise. There is running, weightlifting, yoga, swimming, dancing, and so much more. Even walking is great exercise. Do you think it's true that your mood can benefit from exercise, no matter the intensity of the physical activity? Select your answer and select Submit.
So you get the idea there as well. So I'm going to come back out here to the Captivate program. I'm going to stop sharing and move on to the next person. But there's a lot of different strengths, and I've covered Captivate, Capture, I've covered Hotspots, and quizzing. So
wonderful, Cheri. Thank you so much. So if you are watching that demo and you have any questions at this time about Captivate, go ahead and type them into chat. Again, we will get to those at the end of our session. So go ahead and enter them into chat. And Cheri, I sent you a chat message as well. We'll turn the reins over to Lauren Kennedy, who is going to be our Camtasia expert for today. So take it away, Lauren. Thank you.
Thanks, Angie. Well, first, I just wanted to say thank you guys so much for spending part of your day with us and even your lunch hour. I haven't eaten, so I'm super hungry. I hope this makes sense to you guys. But I actually, like Angie said in my intro, when I started with Medical Solutions, I really didn't know a whole lot of the software, and Camtasia was one of the first ones that I learned. And so I would say that if you were just starting out, it's really intuitive, and I really do love Camtasia, but there are some differences, obviously, between that, Captivate, and Articulate. And so I'm going to share my screen here. Let's see. This is screen 2. Can you see Camtasia?
Looks great.
Awesome. Okay, so I already have Camtasia open for time purposes, but what you guys are looking at, since I know we have some novices here, over here are all the things that I can do with my video, whatever I'm creating. And then if I click on annotation, it pulls up here. And then I can edit over here. But one of the biggest differences that I wanted to point out is I've got tracks. So these tracks are layered. And when I do my screen recording, you will see that. Captivate is more slide focused. So when I'm doing a script, I will do my script per slide in Captivate. However, when I'm in Camtasia, I group it together and then it will appear on the tracks. So we're going to take a screen capture day, and because I work for Medical Solutions, we're going to pretend that we need to teach some people how to use Getty images and look up nurses. So can you guys see that? Getty images, perfect. So the first thing that I want to show you guys, so once I hit record, now I have this little box here that's going to give me some really cool options. I can record the full screen, or I can do a custom section, and it's already got some things in here that are set, or I could click on select area to record, and I could do something like that. I don't want to do that today. I want my full screen. And then another option that I really love about Camtasia is that I could turn the camera on, and if I was doing a PowerPoint presentation or something that really wasn't video focused, I could turn my camera on and then they could see my face. And I'm not going to do that today because of Zoom, and it's already, well, I'll just create a bunch of technical issues. Let's just stay away from that. So I actually did this the other week. I did a PowerPoint presentation and I recorded it with Camtasia, and then you were able to actually move your face. So once it gets recorded, if it's in the way of something, I can just move it on over. So I actually really like that. I'm going to press record, and then it's going to count me down. And hey guys, you need to learn how to look up pictures of nurses today. And so it's actually recording my voice as I do this. There was the option, I missed over that F10, let's stop, that's all I need. But I had the option of not recording my voice, but I wanted to do that today because I wanted you guys to see the layering here. So here is my video. If I want to, I could delete the audio. We're not going to do that today, but then I can move it up. So if you guys, for those of you who are less familiar with Captivate, or I'm sorry, Camtasia, I can move this up. So it's all about layers in Camtasia. That's one of the biggest differences. So now I've got my screen capture, and you can see that it shows up here. The next thing that we need to do in our e-learning video of Getty Images is we need to add a quiz. So I'm going to come over here to More, and I'm going to click on Interactivity. And this is going to pop up right here where it says Add Quiz to Timeline. And I'm going to move my marker over to, let's pull it over right about here. And I'm going to click on Timeline, and now it's going to pop up that option to add the question where I'm at in the timeline. And let's do a true and false. Is awesome. Yes, it is. And so here I have the answer is true or false. If the answer was false, but it's not, I could click right here. And so now I have my very first question. And let's move the marker right here. And I want to add another question. So I'm going to click on Timeline. And this time, let's add a multiple choice. So you can see here on the right-hand side, you guys, that I do have different options for what questions I can put in. Let's do multiple choice and put Getty Images is easy to use. And it's just a yes or no, but I'm going to add no. I could keep adding answers. So you get the point that if I had a question that I wanted to do multiple choice, I could add more. We're just going to keep it super simple today. So the answer is yes. So now I've got my video, I've got my questions. Now I want to add a hotspot. And so for my learners, I want to make sure that they can visit Getty Images when they're done with the video. And I think that the easiest way to do this, so I showed you this earlier, here are my annotations. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pull over an annotation, just this little white block here. And I'm going to type in Getty Images. Then what I want to do is I'm going to click on visual effects. And then right here is where I have my interactive hotspot. I'm going to drag this right on top of the annotation. And you can see over here, see, this is where I get to edit everything. It says interactive hotspot. And so I'm going to click on URL, and I'm going to put the website of wherever I want them to go. So no matter whatever it is that you're teaching, if you want them to go to a certain website, you just click it in there. And I want it to be at the current position. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this. And now I've created my hotspot. And you can see so how that's layered. So that's what I mean about the difference between this and Captivate. Captivate, you can do it per slide. Camtasia is going to layer that, so it's all in one. You've got track 1, 2, 3, and 4, and it just keeps going after that. So I already have a video rendered for you guys. And so I'm going to come over here, and there's something to know when you're putting in quizzes in Camtasia, it's a SCORM file. So your LMS needs to be SCORM compliant for this to work. So here I've got a video that I rendered before that was the exact same thing. This is going to pop up, and the first thing that it's going to do when I hit play, so you can see I've got Getty Images, you're going to need to enter your first and last name and then your email address. And the reason why they have you enter your email address is because after I was done watching this and answering the questions, it emailed me my quiz results. So that's the first thing that you're going to see, and then it will play the video. I'm not going to do that because you guys just saw me do that. So there you have it. That is Camtasia.
Wonderful, Lauren. Thank you so much. There is one question in chat that we'll postpone to answer till the end, but just so you know to have your eyes open to that. Last but not least, we have Michael Merritt here to speak about Articulate Storyline. So with that, I hand the reins over to you.
All right, thank you. Can you hear me all right?
Mm-hmm. Perfect.
I'm going to guess yes, because all my videos just disappeared. Okay, so we're fortunate at HDR. We actually have all three of these tools, so pretty familiar with both, and I'll make a couple comments on how we use them through the demo. But Storyline is probably what we develop 90% of our e-learnings through. We use Captivate for more of the software simulation type of developments, and Camtasia for a lot of webinar recordings, video creation, and those kind of things. So I'm going to do similar to what we've seen today, but in Articulate. And you can see here we've got the whole suite, the 360 suite. I know we had talked about some pricing early on. I think for the whole suite, it's between $1,300 and $1,500 a year. We do have a group license. We have a number of us that use this. But it's pretty comparable to Captivate and the other tools when you add all of the additional tools that come with it, though. So first, I'm going to open up 360 here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start a new project. And so that's going to bring me up a nice blank slide. And I do have a video already pulled up that we're going to use for this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do the hotspot with an image capture first and show you that. So I'm going to insert a picture, screenshot, and you want to go to screen clipping. Screen clipping lets you customize what you're capturing. Otherwise, you can see the available windows. It's just going to capture one of those whole pieces for you. So I'm going to go to screen clipping. My screen should gray out. I've got a little pointer. I'm going to grab this area, and that's going to put that right on my slide. So you're up and ready to go. You don't have to do anything. There are some editing tools that you can modify this picture a little bit. We won't jump into too much of that today. But what we're going to do next is we're going to insert those hotspots. So for the last 8 years or so, I've been doing a lot of dam safety training. And this is what I'm going to show as an example of some of the things that we do. So I'm going to put a hotspot in here to identify some key things that our learners should be looking at in the case of this dam that's about to fail. So I've circled one area. That's our flooding area. I'm going to circle, it's kind of hard to see on the top here, but we have damage on the top of the dam. And this does get a little tricky sometimes. You have to double click to get it to stop and continue your circle or your square or whatever type shape you're doing. I use the free form probably more often than the square or circle because often it's not just a square or circle. All right, I'm going to put it in one more, and that is the seepage that we have coming out of the dam. Okay, so I now have 3 hotspots. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here. I'm going to create 3 layers. One key is always label your layers. So flooding, especially if you do many of them. Seepage and damage. I'm going to go back to the first slide, and actually I'm going to go to flooding real quick. I'm going to insert just a call out, a simple call out caption here. I'm going to move my little marker up here so it points up to what I'm trying to direct at. Edit the text. This is flooding. Make that text a lot bigger real quick. And then kind of a nice little way to kind of cheat on this is you can do a Control-C, Control-V to paste, Control-V to paste on your others, and then you're just going back and quickly changing your wording on each one. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to the base, and so our hotspot that's at the top here, this one is my flooding. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a trigger so that we're going to show layer flooding. That's where that importance comes when you're labeling these. I'm going to do when a user hovers over hotspot 1. Of course, I didn't label those. That was a mistake. I should have done that. Makes it a little easier later. Okay, and then real quick, insert another layer. Show layer damage. Hovers over hotspot 2. All of that was already set for me, so that's kind of nice. And what we're going to do is we're going to preview this slide real quick. And now when I hover over my flooding area, I get that next layer that comes up that shows whatever I've put on that layer. In this case, it's flooding. If I go up here to the damage part, which is pointing to the wrong way. Oh, because I did not move those, sorry, on the layers. So damage. Move our pointer over. That's where the damage actually is. Okay, so now you'll see flooding and damage. So that's a real quick way to set up hotspots on an image. You can also actually convert these into quiz questions. I'm actually just going to show you a little bit easier way to do that. We're going to do a graded question. This does come with a variety of quizzing questions, backgrounds, templates that are already set up and designed for you. There's lots to choose from here. So I'm going to pick a hotspot. I'm going to insert this. And we're going to go with, I'm going to use the one I've been using in our practices. So there's my question. I'm going to choose an image. It's going to go a little slow. I'm going to go to my pictures. We're going to pull in these two. And I'm going to add a hotspot. So I'm going to go with a rectangle one, because what I'm going to point out is kind of a rectangle. So cyclists, I'm going to give you the answer. They typically don't wear bow ties unless you're fashionable like our friend Edward. Darcy is probably laughing right now. So I'm going to put that right over the spot where I want them to click on. Then we've also got feedback down here. So it automatically puts in correct or not correct. You can customize this correct. Typically they don't wear a bow tie. So you can customize those pretty easily. This is the preview. So I usually use this when you're actually creating it. If we go to the slide view, this is what the learner's going to see. So this is pretty basic. There's no background or anything like that. So let's preview this slide. So our question is, what does a cyclist typically not wear? Probably not a bow tie. You'll see it's spinning, so it shows where I've selected. I'm going to hit the submit button on the bottom and correct. So that's the easy way and kind of the quick way to do a hotspot question. What I'm going to do next real quick to show the capture part is, give me a blank slide. I'm going to go back to the video and What's not helpful in Articulate, and we found this the other day when we were doing our demo, is they kind of move this screen capture. So the record screen is actually under slides, and then record your screen. So just like Camtasia, it's got pretty friendly user options here. You can select from a full screen, select a window. You can do custom sides or sizes. You can set up some pre-function buttons if you want to do things, test your microphone and your speakers if you're recording audio. I'm going to leave all that where it is. And I'm just going to go over and fit this to our window real quick. I'm going to hit record. It's going to give you a 3, 2, 1. I'm going to hit play. Capture just 5 or 6 seconds of this. There goes the dam. We're going to stop. It's going to save. Hopefully a little quicker. And then similar to our image, this is actually going to set this up as a new scene in our deck here. I'm going to say insert. It's going to put it on the slide just like the image did and pretty much have everything set for you. The nice thing about the videos is you can overlay hotspots on it. You can turn that into a quiz question if you want. You can see we only did 5 seconds of video capture here with Articulate. It does take a little bit of time to process. So that's something you want to plan for, is however long a video you do, expect at least 1 to even 2 times, depending on what type of machine you're working on, to how long that video is going to take to publish, get to the slide. And from here we can preview. But as you can see, as I did with the image, if I wanted to do a really interactive hotspot and maybe have some captions come up and say, what should we be looking at in this video that may be a danger to the dam? I can put that hotspot up there, create my layers again, create a trigger so that they can roll over and see, yes, this is, and you can provide feedback there as it's correct or no, maybe you look a little bit to the left or the right, or some other key areas that they may want to look at. So that's kind of a quick overview of hotspots, captures, and intro to quizzing. So I'm going to stop sharing on my screen and send back to Angie here as our host, and we'll see what questions we have.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Michael. You guys really showed some valuable tools and assets in today's presentation. I saw one question in chat that was specifically posed to Lauren, but it could philosophically go to both Cheri and Michael for consideration as well. And that was, do you record the audio track first or the video track first? So in your workflow, what works best for you? Lauren, we'll start with you.
I love that question because I found out the hard way when I first started, but I actually have a strategy depending on what I'm recording and if it's in Captivate versus Camtasia. So Camtasia is awesome. If you are going to be doing a longer video though, I record audio first. So if it's going to be 7+ minutes, I record the audio first. And my biggest tip with that is I will take pauses. So I get my script ready and I record, and then I strategically put pauses so that when I go to put in the video or the clips, I've got space to edit from. If I'm going to do, so like the other week I was making just some really short videos for our HR department, and it was, they were like 60 seconds to 2 minutes. And for that, I went into Camtasia and I recorded at the same time. But that was easy because I just pretended like I was with someone, they were sitting right there and I was showing them exactly what to click on, super easy and done. If I'm in Captivate, I do it per slide and I actually design first. I make my script, then I design the slides, and then I go in and record the audio per slide. So there's 3 answers to that question. It just depends on my project, but yes, Camtasia, if you do it the wrong way, you could end up spending way too much time editing. So you really want to be strategic with how you do that.
Thank you, Lauren. That's so helpful. That's wonderful. Cheri, did you have any comment you wanted to offer? No?
just on mute.
Okay.
I think she nailed it. I think it's differences by program and also by your design and also what kind of video and how long it is. In a lot of cases, we've had our videos clipped before and we bring those into actual other curriculum. It's not just a video we're doing. So in a lot of cases, we have our videos done first. But Camtasia allows you to build in space. Where she was talking, she needs that space. You can actually put space in your design. So.
Thank you. Michael, did you have any other food for thought to add on that one? Make sure you guys are putting your questions into chat. We'll address some more here next. But Michael, did you have anything else to add?
Yeah, I would say same as what Cheri and Lauren said. It really depends on the project. And I guess more for what you're using the tool for. Like I said, Camtasia, we do a lot of video and webinar work. So that's probably going to be scripted out and we're going to record audio and slides right along with each other. Whereas like Lauren said, you know, with an e-learning, we may be sending that audio out for a professional narration or audio voiceover. So slides and template and narration are probably all done. We send that out and then we bring that in and do that slide by slide later.
Wonderful. And I would add, only because we use Articulate 360, one of the other products in the suite, if you have access to the suite, is Replay, and it allows you to break out the video and the audio tracks separately. So that's beyond the scope of today's session, but there are other tools that are part of, you know, some of these software options that you have available to you. So thank you for that great question. All right. What other questions do you have? I haven't seen any in chat as I've been watching. Or if you'd prefer to just simply turn your camera on and unmute yourself, we could certainly welcome your questions in live time as well. We have plenty of time.
That's a good question.
All right, so great question from Corinna. What advice do you have for someone learning these programs on their own?
I can start that by saying there's a lot of things that you can learn outside your own team, especially if you have a small team like we do. I went to Facebook and found user groups for different software programs that I have, and you get a different kind of variety because everybody's asking questions in there, and I really think that's helped me learn some things that I haven't even approached yet. And they're always willing to answer questions. And you're finding that, I find that there's experienced people that are from like Adobe that are even in these groups that help answer your questions, or they're presenters that get paid to work on Adobe and help other people. So, and they're willing to answer your questions as well. So that would be my first advice.
That's what I had to do. I had to learn Camtasia and Captivate. I would say, so Sunny put in the chat, YouTube, definitely. I YouTube everything. But I relied heavily on my team. I asked them, you know, like for help on anything that I needed. We did some workshops with Captivate. Camtasia, I did use YouTube. And then Training Mag Network, you guys are probably familiar with that. They have a ton of good resources, webinars and things, especially for Captivate. But Camtasia, I find that even their website has a bunch of tutorials, nice short tutorials on whatever you want to do. So if you can't find it there though, YouTube probably has it. So lots of different things you can do.
Thank you,
And
Lauren. Michael?
those I'd add probably LinkedIn. Yeah, LinkedIn Learning is a good resource if you have access to that. Otherwise, what we share a lot is the Articulate program is built off PowerPoint. We've even talked about it within the group. So it's really easy to kind of dive in and start learning. But Articulate has a great user group that's made up of, just like Cheri said, it's professionals, it's developers, and it's all of us who are e-learning developers in the field. That community, the e-learning heroes community, is phenomenal, from everything from animations, slide design, content, how to work narration. I mean, they have examples of everything out there, and great video tutorials, and that's a great place to start. And then, yeah, YouTube's always great too for the other tools.
I know we're in a quarantine type situation, but the libraries also have lynda.com and some other places where you can get, they have free resources to that as well. If you have access to the library, you can get online support. If you're a member of a library.
I think if you have an Omaha library card, yeah.
Yeah. So
I think I would just add that for me, I have to get in there and do it. So with all of those, you know, use your resources, but Kate even put that in the chat. I just had to get in there and do it and play with it. And my skills, I challenged myself with each video that I made to get a little bit more advanced. So I kept it simple. And then as I go and the more videos I make, I try to challenge myself each time. So obviously doing is gonna be super helpful. Just do it.
Wonderful. All right. Any other questions? If not, I'll give you guys a few seconds. If you go ahead, if you have a question, please unmute, and that'll be my cue that you want to ask something. All right, so with that said, I just want to once again start by saying thank you to each of our presenters. Your knowledge, expertise, and time to build up our community is greatly appreciated. We are so thankful for you being with us today, as well as all of you folks who spent your lunch hour to come sign on and grow your knowledge and your professional development. We appreciate that you're investing in yourself and also in a learning community. So we'll stick around for a few more moments. I'm going to go ahead and end the recording, but with that, we hope that you'll visit atdnebraska.org and join us for either one of our virtual upcoming Thursday Night Live mixer events or for the upcoming Fall Professional Development Series. And with that, we will wish you all the best for a wonderful rest of your day. And stick around if you have other questions. Otherwise, adieu, and we look forward to seeing you soon. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks so much. Appreciate it.